everyone. This is Stephanie from the Yale Alumni Association, back for the second time today with another interview as part of the pep rally. In a few moments, we are going to be talking to Jesse Reising, who is a former football player who started an incredible organization to serve active military who are going into Ivy League institutions. So on Veterans Day, we thought this would be a perfect person to talk to and to hear their story. And if we do, in fact, have any veterans watching, thank you very much for your service. We are very excited to welcome Jesse. I think he's about to join us. Just a moment. Thank you all for being here tonight. Hi, Jesse.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Good, good.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you could join us tonight. I got your name up there in case anybody didn't hear my intro. We've got Jesse Reising, class of 2011, former Bulldog football player here with us tonight as part of the pep rally. We are celebrating all things Yale football, the game. In the absence of the game this year, we thought it'd be really fun to bring a lot of people back and talk about their favorite memories of the bowl and football and Yale. So Jesse, we're going to get started with asking you to just tell us a little bit about your Yale experience, where you came to Yale from, and why you chose Yale.
Yeah, so I'm originally from an industrial Midwestern town called Decatur, Illinois. Places like Yale, you only heard about in the movies. I had actually gotten a recruiting letter as a high school football player from a school that at the time I thought was called Dartmouth. Talked to my parents and we started looking into it a little bit more and realized it was an Ivy League school. So we said, well, if Dartmouth is interested, then maybe the others are too. And ended up sending in my materials to several of the Ivies, Yale included. Ended up looking at, it really came down to Yale, Princeton, and Harvard. And Yale, Princeton and Harvard are in these like perfect, cities, and Yale has, New Haven has a little more grit to it, and that reminded me, a little more my hometown, and I really appreciated that aspect of it, and Yale also beat Harvard that year. That was another big plus in the Yale column, and ended up going to Yale and playing football there and really enjoyed it.
So one of the things, Jesse, that everybody hears me say time and time again is that when I talk to Yalees, they always usually start with, I was in X college, which is the best college. So here's your opportunity to sell me on your college. Which college were you in, Jesse?
Yeah, so I was in Davenport, and like many other Yaleys would say, Davenport has the best random assemblage of Yale students in it. So despite the random selection of the students in each college, somehow everybody's randomly selected group is the best.
Of course. So Jesse, tell us a little bit about what your career at Yale was like.
Yeah, so like I said, it was really sort of a mind-blowing experience coming from, my hometown where, a lot of folks struggled to graduate from high school, let alone, go to college or to go to an Ivy League school. So, it really hadn't ventured very far out of my, my town in central Illinois before arriving at Yale. So, arriving at Yale and just being, being around so many, brilliant people, and then also, everything from, United States senators to diplomats to CEOs, on any given Tuesday, they're, one of those categories of people might be, giving remarks or sitting on a panel or something of that nature. So, it really, one of the things that really made me feel grateful for, America as the land of opportunity. A guy like me could end up at Yale, felt, incredibly grateful for that opportunity. It made me want to sort of give back in whatever ways that I could. A lot of people think that, I actually was planning to join the Marine Corps coming out of Yale. And, a lot of people think that had been my pre-existing plan, but it was really the opportunity that I was presented with at Yale that made me feel sort of indebted, to everything this country has to offer, and to want to give back.
I know that's a very central part to your story after the time that you played football, and that's something that we're going to talk quite a bit about in just a minute. But can you tell us a little bit, Jesse? I was talking to Nate Lowry earlier today, class of 2004, and one of the things that he told me was a big selling point for him to come and play football at Yale was the opportunity to play in the bowl. So can you tell us a little bit about what it was like for you playing in the bowl and what your experiences were at the game?
Yeah, that should be another. I should have mentioned that as another plus in the Yale column when I was deciding. I remember distinctly the first time walking into the top level of the Yale Bowl during my recruiting visit, and just looking over the field. Is empty stadium, but really it physically took my breath away. It's such a large structure, and impressive structure, that it really it has a visceral effect on you when you see it for the first time, and that stays with you. And that's one of the other cool things about going to Yale is the Yale Harvard game, because although we don't always attract your Ohio State level crowds, at least for the Yale Harvard game, we get up there, and it's an impressive audience to be able to play in front of.
Yeah, absolutely. Forget about Ohio, Michigan. The game is where it's at. Like, forget
Right.
about those guys. I mean, I know you're a Midwesterner, but us East Coasters,
Right.
we look forward to the game every year. So, Jesse, when you were on the team, what was your team's record against Harvard? I think you told me you guys got 2.
You don't want to ask. That's
Well,
really the unfortunate thing. Is part of the reason I wanted to go to Yale is because Yale really beat up on Harvard. I guess it was my senior year of high school, and then it didn't quite play out that way the next 4 years. So maybe we can move on to the next question.
fair enough. But I'm sure that everyone watching can remember a great tailgate moment from all of those games, right? Because that was a big part of it too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I never got to enjoy the pregame tailgates. We'd go out there after the games, but that's been something I've been able to enjoy as an alum. Of course, going back to the games and seeing everybody at the tailgates is really
Right.
one of the great aspects of the game.
Isn't it? It's so much fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to have that this year. But
that's why we're trying to bring you guys to everybody. We're just trying to get in the spirit of it. Hopefully, everybody in a week and a half will get their cocktail and hang out in their own backyards and watch highlights of games of the past. So, Jesse, another kind of unpleasant thing that happened to you really has shaped your future. So, can you tell us a little bit of the story of what happened in your senior year?
Yeah, so as I said, I was planning to join the Marine Corps after graduating from Yale. Went through Marine Corps Officer Candidate School, which is basically boot camp for people who want to go into the Marine Corps after college as officers. So I was already on the path to do that. I had I got the comb over now, but at the time I had the shaved head, and the Marine Corps was very much a part of my identity and who I was, and had a reasonably healthy athletic career, high school, college, and otherwise. But then in the last quarter of my last game of my last season of college football, which was the Yale Harvard game, there was, I think, nine minutes or so left in the game. I was playing outside linebacker, and I dropped back to defend pass coverage, and Harvard threw the ball on sort of an underneath route to their star running back, Gino Gordon. I think he was actually Ivy League Player of the Year that year. And, I had about a 15-yard running start, and he had, quite a running start as well. And he caught the ball, just in time to catch the ball and see that I was about to hit him, and lower, his shoulder pads to sort of brace himself for the impact. At the same time, I was lowering my shoulder pads to tackle him. And, we just collided in a sort of freak accident kind of way where, the curvature of the helmet and the shoulder pads normally, creates a glancing blow, and you just sort of deflect off of each other a little bit. But, his helmet hit my shoulder and my helmet hit his shoulder in just the wrong way that it pulled my arm down from my head and tore two of the nerves in my neck, which has left me, I guess clinically speaking, I'm still partially paralyzed, because those two nerves that connect my brain to my arm, those have been surgically repaired to some extent since then. But I don't have full movement in my right arm, although it's gotten pretty good. For probably a year or two, I couldn't even write. Really had almost no use of my arm, and I've gained quite a bit back. But it was never good enough for the Marine Corps, unfortunately, which was the hardest part of it. Not being able to finish up my training and get my commission in the Marine Corps. So that was definitely tough.
Right. It's such an unfortunate and, like you said, freak accident to happen, but it really propelled you into something what I think is absolutely amazing, and that I'd love for you to tell everyone a little bit more about. And you referenced this earlier, having gone to Yale, coming away with a strong sense of service and wanting to do things to support the country. So tell us a little bit about what you pivoted to after that accident.
Yeah. So I was still, I guess, a Marine in spirit, even though I couldn't actually join the Marines. So I was looking for other outlets for that, and ultimately, what I came up with was, I said, well, I'll do three things to replace the Marine Corps. One is to go to Afghanistan as a civilian and do what I can there as a civilian, which I did. And another was to become a federal prosecutor and stand up in federal court and introduce myself as Jesse Reising for the United States, which I was able to do. And the third thing is, just seeing the banner there, is to co-found with two of my Yale classmates the Warrior Scholar Project. So I had a lot of desire to do good and to kind of channel this outpouring of support that I had received in the wake of my injury. Usually when people have a devastating injury like this, it's not televised internationally like mine was. So I had quite a bit of people reaching out to offer whatever support they could. So I was ready to channel that. But I was still trying to figure out how, and it would probably be at the intersection of education and veterans, because I was, I think, 21, 22 at the time. Mm-hmm. And, if I had anything to offer, it was probably going to be in that space. And I actually got introduced through my Yale classmate, Nick Rugoff, to another Yaley named Chris Howell, who had made a very successful transition from the military to University of Sydney. Mm-hmm. And the reason he made such a successful transition was because his brother, David Howell, had basically put him through a crash course, saying, hey, here are the things you need to do to become an effective student. I know you can, kick down a door, but do you know how to read a book properly? So, put him through a crash course, and he was able to make such a successful transition from the military to University of Sydney that he was able to transfer to Yale after his first year. So we teamed up and we said, all right, well, let's basically take everything that Chris did and combine that with some other things and turn that into basically an academic boot camp is what we call it. It's, the way we see it, veterans get a boot camp to make that transition from civilian to military. So, the way we see it, they should also get a boot camp to go from the military to school, because it's not an easy transition to make. It's a transition where your entire sense of identity is transformed, and your entire sense of how you derive a sense of purpose changes. So, beyond the academic challenges, a lot of people don't know that, majority of enlisted veterans are first generation college students. So
Right.
they have this great resource in the GI Bill to help them pay for college, but, they might not really have a frame of reference to know, what's required of a college student. And, they're extracted from this environment of intense camaraderie in the military where everybody has each other's backs and you operate as a team, to now this very individualistic culture that you have in college. And, all these things, okay, there are some aspects of your military experience that are great and you should continue to lean on. At the same time, you don't have to always one up everybody. If somebody says they're stressed out about their exam on Friday, you don't have to tell them, well, you think that's stressful. I was up to my knees in grenade pens. It's the way that, Chris used to put it. So, there's a lot of ways to help bridge that civilian military divide. And it's not just the civilians that need to do it. We want the veterans to meet, their classmates in the middle on this stuff. And so what these academic boot camps are designed to do is help them, make all those aspects of the transition and do it effectively and do it in a way that veterans view as a challenge, just in the same way that boot camp, a traditional boot camp, was a challenge to them, and it unlocks their full potential and helps them rethink who they are and what they want to get out of college. And so we ran our first academic boot camp at Yale. As I said, there's a lot of outpouring of support in the wake of my injury. And, we're very fortunate that, a lot of people at Yale, the professors, all the way on down and on up at Yale were very supportive of the program. And we were able to run our first academic boot camp there. And now it's become a model that we've expanded to about 20 campuses across the country.
That's incredible. And I have to say, Jesse, as you were talking, I was seeing a lot of people post WSP, like hashtag WSP, and messages. I think maybe alums of the program. And for any veterans watching, thank you so much for your service. We're so happy to have you here with us tonight and appreciate all that you've done. And I just think this is an amazing thing, Jesse, because so many of us know veterans who have gone into academic settings who found themselves very lost and very unsure of how to pursue this path. And so I think you met a need that was very much present in our society. So how long have you guys been in existence?
So we ran our first academic boot camp at Yale in 2012 for 9 Warrior Scholars. And to date, I can't count them. We've run a lot of academic boot camps, and we have over 1,500 alum of the program. And keep in mind, these boot camps are typically somewhere between 10 and 15 veterans at a time. So we've run a lot of these, and we think we run these pretty effectively. So for any veterans out there who think they could use a leg up during their transition, should definitely check out the program.
Yes, please. Absolutely. Everybody. We will definitely be posting the link to Warrior Scholar Project to their website, how you can get in touch, how you can learn more and possibly support this organization. Jesse, this is just, I think your story is so amazing. When someone shared this with me when I was talking about the pep rally, and I knew that it was around Veterans Day, and someone said, oh my gosh, you absolutely have to talk to Jesse Reising. So I sent you about 1,700 emails, and I'm just so glad that we finally got here to this moment to tell your story. I mean, it's an incredible story of overcoming adversity and helping others. I mean, on Veterans Day, it just makes me so happy to be able to share this story and to tell people about your organization, and that they can get involved or share with others. I see some people posting the link, which is incredible. Thank you all so much. So Jesse, any advice, whether it's for current Yale football players who are looking to transition out of football, or people who are considering military service, just any last thoughts that you might like to share about your looking back on what your hopes were for your future and where you are now? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, one of the interesting things is, oftentimes, especially in our early years, we often tried to do some sort of joint, maybe we do like a flag football game between the Yale football players who are around campus during the summer and the veterans. And and what we noticed was just like an explosion of camaraderie. And I think what between the veterans and the football players, and particularly the Yale football players, and I think why that is it goes back to that team mentality, and it's very different from what a lot of us are used to in our sort of typical day-to-day lives, where we are very individualistically focused on whether it's our careers or what have you, and to be able to put aside some of those individualistic concerns and be at a setting where people are used to having each other's backs, putting each other first, dedicating themselves to a mission that's bigger than themselves. The parallels between like a team sport and the military are greater than a lot of people recognize in that respect. So I guess my advice is just to sort of seek out those types of environments and settings wherever you can, because people who have been a part of team sports, Yale football players, and members of the military who served in close-knit units know how powerful that can be. And it's sort of it can run counter to this way that we're sort of programmed to think we're supposed to live, which is always looking out for number one. So anytime you can seek out those sort of settings outside of team sports, outside of the military, you should try to get that, because that's what life is all about, and it's the way humans are wired to exist in tribes, if you will, and it creates a sort of euphoria and happiness that's difficult to match in society otherwise.
Well, Jesse, I hesitate to say this because it's so corny, but I am so proud to be on this Yale team, to have you as part of our Yale team, our Yale family, and to be able to share your story. And again, to any veterans who are watching or who may watch this later, thank you so much for your service, Jesse. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and to be able to tell the story about Warrior Scholar Project. We will make sure that we share the link for people to be able to find you and learn more about the project and how they can get involved, or spread the word, just to let people know that you're out there and that you're there to support veterans who are transitioning into the classroom. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to be back tomorrow, you guys, with another interview of a current Yale cheerleader. We've got Coach Reno next week at the Bowl. It's going to be a fun couple of weeks celebrating everything Yale. So thank you for being a part of it, Jesse, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.